using the reformer. A lot of people that have a certain way they do, a method they do it, see what Jill and I do and they think, oh my God, they're bastardizing Pilates. Now, two things. One, I will say, when you do your teacher training, they are teaching you the foundations. Even if they're showing you and teaching you intermediate to advanced, that's still a small foundation to get you used to this machine. Not to tell you that's what you should do. You can use those as a foundation, but move out of that. And I talk about that always in my teacher training workshops. Think outside. Don't think that when you got your teacher training that that's it.
Right. Or I like to say that what you might see us do, that is couture. That is the runway version.
Yes.
It is the runway
That's
version.
Perfect. I agree with that.
And then what you'll actually give to people is the ready to wear.
Correct. Yes.
So you're seeing like the gap.
And what you don't see, and like I said before, and that's a really good analogy, I've never used that, you don't see the dress designer making 150 different mistakes. And all the work it takes to get to that runway. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah. I'm gonna use that in my next workshop. So
yeah, it's a really
credit.
But it totally says what it is, because you might deconstruct something.
Yes.
Deconstruct an exercise. Like we might take chest expansion, which is such a basic exercise, but deconstruct the crap out of it to make it more valuable.
And think about what it is you're doing. It's shoulder extension and flexion, right? Or shoulder extension with cervical rotation if you're doing the regular chest expansion. But again, doing the same thing repeated all the time, your body's going to get used to it and you're not going to condition to the movement as well as if you mix it up a little bit, like what we're doing today. So the woman said, springs are designed to give you feedback. Shame on you for working with people and not giving the feedback. So here's what I said to her. Now please know this is tongue-in-cheek. I said, thank you for your input. I totally get what you're saying. Next time you have to clean your house, I want you to attach springs around your ankles and clean your house because I think you need feedback to move. And she thought I was being an a-hole, and what I was doing is trying to realize, no, sometimes we have to let go. Sometimes we have to use the springs to understand what it is we're trying to find, but then let it go. Now, as a man, you give me a red spring, to me, that's like no springs.
Right.
So if I go to a class, and we've talked about going to classes, and I go to a class, and somebody gives me a red spring, and I ask for 2 red, they're like, no, it's done on a red, it's a medium. That's why even in my workbooks, all of my workbooks give no springs. I don't want anybody to dictate the spring tension because your height, and people don't understand, different than cable machines. Spring is going to, based on limb length. Jill can do a red, I can do a red, and we feel different because I'm stretching it longer than hers. And my power output and force output in my muscles is greater than hers. So the recoil on me is going to be more intense.
Right. But also going back to that spring, no spring. I mean, no spring was the mat work. And the mat work all translates over
I wish I could have said that to her.
Your equipment. I mean, it really is like every single exercise that is a foundational exercise, it applies to your mat work.
Correct.
And then in terms of like a recoil, I think of like when you're on the Cadillac.
Yeah.
And I always think your springs are thinking, because when you see the springs vibrating, they are thinking.
Yeah.
It is your muscle having an experience, which is a different kind of experience than what's happening on this stable bed. Or it's mostly stable.
Yeah, but, I got you. Yeah, it is stable, very stable.
It's a very different experience.
Yeah. I like no springs for making people work harder.
100%.
And I like it for my fast movers.
Oh yeah.
It stops them in their tracks.
Yep.
So if you have any fast movers that are like boom, bam, pull their no springs out.
Yeah.
Get ideas either from I think you can no springs hashtag reformer and see if there's some great. You can get my book, of course. I'm going to sell my book every chance I get, the No Springs Reformer workbook. Great basic ideas on understanding how to use this without springs, and use them on your fast moving clients. That'll slow them down, because you can yell at clients all you want. You know what? We're in the middle of taping the segment.
You're so pretty.
Right. Okay. 1 kiss and then I get back to work. Okay. All right. So let's go and let's do a challenge. Okay. I'm gonna, since we're no springs, let's push the bed open.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you, and you give me the next challenge so it doesn't feel like I'm picking on you.
No.
No props, just the reformer, non-traditional plantar flexion exercises. How would you do a plantar flexion exercise? Without springs.
Without springs. Okay, let me think.
See, this is what we do. We think about things and we get on and we play. There you go. You were probably more